Story 1. The woods behind our cabin. Have you ever heard someone whisper your name when no one was around? Not in a horror movie sense, no creepy soundtrack, no jump scare, just silence, and then your name, almost too soft to notice. That happened to me the summer before I turned 18. I still can't explain it. I don't talk about it much anymore, but I'll tell you what happened. Because even now, years later, I still don't sleep with the windows open. My family owns a small lake cabin in northern Michigan. It's been in the family for years, a basic wooden structure with no internet, no cell service, and barely any electricity. It's surrounded by thick forest on all sides except the front, which faces the lake. We went there every summer for 2 weeks, just to disconnect. It was peaceful, even boring. Until that year, in 2018, it was just me, my cousin Logan, and my Uncle Dave. Logan was my age, and we'd grown up going to the cabin together. That summer, we were given more freedom. We'd take the canoe out late at night, build fires, explore deeper into the woods than we were usually allowed. It was supposed to be a rite of passage before senior year. One night, Logan came up with the idea to camp out in the woods behind the cabin. Not just near the edge, he meant deep in, past the point where the trees thinned and it got dark even in the day. My uncle wasn't thrilled, but he trusted us. We packed flashlights, sleeping bags, trail mix, and 2 walkie-talkies, no tents. We thought that made it more legit. We hiked out around 7 p.m. By 8:30, we'd found a flat patch surrounded by pines and set up camp. The air was still, and the temperature dropped fast. I remember how silent everything was. No crickets, no birds, just the occasional rustle of wind. By 10 p.m., the fire we built had mostly died down, and we lay on our backs watching the trees sway above us. That's when I heard it. It was a whisper, faint, barely audible. "Jared." I sat up. Logan was already looking at me. "Did you hear that?" I asked. He nodded slowly. "It said your name." I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was Uncle Dave on the walkie. We both grabbed our radios. They were on. No static. No clicks. "Uncle Dave, you there?" I said. Silence. "Probably nothing," Logan mumbled. But his voice didn't sound convinced. Around midnight, we were still awake, just staring into the dying fire. That's when the second whisper came, this time louder. "Jared, come here." It sounded like a woman's voice. Soft, gentle, almost like someone singing under their breath. Logan's face drained of color. "Nope," he said. "Nope, I'm not doing this. Let's go back." I wanted to agree, but something stopped me. Not bravery, more like curiosity. Or stupidity. I told him to wait. I stood and shined my flashlight toward where the voice had come from. Trees. Nothing but dark, unmoving trees. Then something moved. Not an animal. Not a person. It was like the trees themselves shifted, or like something big passed behind them. The light caught a glimpse of something pale. That's when the walkie-talkie crackled. "Boys? You there?" It was Uncle Dave. His voice sounded panicked. "I just saw someone near the cabin," he said. "Thought it was one of you, but they ran into the woods." Logan and I looked at each other. Neither of us had left the clearing. "We're still out here," I said. Long pause. Then, "Get back now." We didn't argue. We packed up fast. Logan kept his flashlight aimed behind us as we walked. Every few seconds, I swore I heard twigs snap just beyond the light's reach. Halfway back, the whisper came again, but this time, it was right behind us. "Jared." I spun around. No one. But Logan screamed. I turned to see him staring up into the trees. "Did you see that?" he said, breathless. Something was in the tree. We ran, tripped, fell, kept running. When we got back to the cabin, Uncle Dave was waiting on the porch with a hunting rifle. He was pale, sweat beading on his forehead. "I saw her," he whispered. She was standing by the shed. I thought it was a neighbor. But when I called out, she ran. Fast, not like a person should be able to. We locked all the doors. None of us slept. The next day, we packed up early. On the drive back to the city, Logan didn't speak once. It's been years. I've looked into urban legends, forest spirits, missing persons. I found nothing that matches. Except once, on a Reddit thread, I saw someone mention the Whisper Woman, a figure people hear calling them in the woods. Always at night, always by name. I didn't reply, but I've never gone back to that cabin, because sometimes, late at night when the house is quiet, I still hear her. Story 2. The Drive. An incident. The summer after I graduated high school, I worked part-time at an old-fashioned drive in theater in rural Tennessee. It was the kind of place that still used analog projectors and sold popcorn out of a trailer that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 70s. Most nights were uneventful families, couples, small groups of teenagers drinking warm beer in pickup trucks. But that one Saturday night in late July changed everything. We were screening a double feature, a new horror film followed by a classic slasher. The place was packed. I was on cleanup duty with my coworker Rachel, and we had a good system. We'd wait until the second film started, then make rounds to pick up trash without bothering the guests. Around 10:30, the first movie ended, and we took a breather before heading out with garbage bags and flashlights. It was a clear night, warm with just the faintest breeze. The parking field was pitch black between the screen and the concession stand, lit only by the screen's glow and a few flickering overhead lamps. We were maybe halfway through the lot when I noticed something strange. A car parked way in the back, way past where we let people set up. It was an old blue sedan, rusty, with no visible occupants. "Was that there earlier?" I asked Rachel. She shook her head. "I don't think so. It's way out of the zone." I told her to keep going while I checked it out. As I got closer, I noticed the windows were rolled up, but the engine was off. The car looked abandoned, but I still called out, "Hello, drive, in's up there. You're not supposed to park this far out." No response. I got closer, maybe 5 feet away, and shined my flashlight inside. The back seat was empty. But in the front passenger seat, there was a mannequin. At least, that's what I thought at first. It was wearing a faded floral dress, head turned away. It looked plastic, unnaturally still, pale. I felt a chill run down my spine. Something about it just felt off. Then it turned its head. I jumped back so fast I dropped the flashlight. It didn't make any noise, didn't move otherwise, just rotated its head slowly and looked at me. Its eyes didn't reflect the light like human eyes should. I backed away and nearly ran into Rachel, who had come back to check on me. "What the hell?" she whispered. "Someone's in there," I whispered back. "But I don't think they're right." Rachel wanted to call the manager, but our radios weren't working. The signal always cut out in the back field. We decided to walk to the front, fast. But as we turned around, we heard a car door slam. We spun around. The passenger side door was now wide open, and the figure, mannequin or not, was gone. I swept the lot with my flashlight. Nothing. Then Rachel gasped and pointed. There, near the tree line behind the field, we saw the figure again. It was standing perfectly still between 2 trees, just watching. We didn't wait around. We ran back to the concession trailer and told our manager, Eric. He laughed at first until he saw we weren't kidding. He grabbed his flashlight and came with us. When we got back to the car, it was gone. No tracks, no sound, just empty grass where it had been parked. Eric searched the perimeter with his own light, even went into the woods a few steps, but found nothing. He told us it was probably some crackhead or weirdo trying to scare us. But here's the thing. The next night, we were doing inventory around midnight. The drive-in was closed, no guests, just a skeleton crew locking up. Rachel screamed from the projection booth. I ran up the stairs, and when I got there, she was staring out the window. The same blue sedan was parked in the backfield again, empty. We never saw anyone leave it, never saw it arrive. We didn't go check it out this time. We called the sheriff's department, and they sent a deputy, but by the time he arrived, the car was gone again. I quit a week later. Rachel left the same day I did. 3 months later, I got a text from her in the middle of the night. All it said was, "It was parked outside my apartment." She moved the next week. I haven't spoken to her since. Every summer, I still check the news for stories about that car. I've never found anything, but sometimes I dream about it. That figure, the slow turn of its head, and those eyes that didn't blink, didn't shine, didn't look human. And I wonder where it'll show up next. Story 3. The Lake Cabin Stranger. It was the summer of 2019 when I spent a weekend alone at my grandparents' lake cabin. I'd just turned 21, and they offered it to me as a sort of peaceful birthday getaway. No work, no noise, just time to decompress. The cabin was in upstate New York, on a quiet lake with maybe 3 other houses scattered along the shoreline. Most of them were seasonal and empty that early in June. The first night was perfect. I grilled some food, listened to music, took a swim in the warm lake water, and fell asleep in the hammock on the back deck. No one around for miles. It felt like paradise. The second night, that's when it changed. I'd spent the day hiking and swimming again. By sunset, I was beat. I ate leftovers, showered, and curled up on the couch to read. Around 10 p.m., I shut off the lights and went to bed, all the windows open to let in the summer breeze. I woke up at 7 a.m., not because of a nightmare or because I was uncomfortable, but because someone was knocking on the front door. Soft, deliberate knocking. I froze. My first thought was that maybe one of the neighbors needed help, but then I remembered those other houses were empty. I hadn't seen a soul in 2 days. I stayed still for a few seconds, trying to listen. The knocking came again. 3 knocks. A pause. 3 more. I slipped out of bed, heart pounding, and moved toward the hallway. The front door had a small window, but from where I was standing, I couldn't see anything. I thought about calling the police, but there was no signal out there, and no landline in the cabin. I tiptoed to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife I could find. Then, I slowly crept to the front window, staying low. I peeked through the curtain. There was a man standing on the porch. He wasn't trying to hide. He was just standing there, arms at his sides, facing the door. Not moving. Wearing dark jeans, a pale t-shirt, and no shoes. No shoes. I ducked back, heart slamming in my chest. I waited, didn't breathe. Then the knocking started again. But this time, it was coming from the back door. I nearly screamed. I rushed to the kitchen and locked it, then ran through the house and locked every window and door I could. The knocks moved from door to window like he was circling the house. And then, silence. Nothing for at least 10 minutes. I didn't dare move. I crouched in the bathroom with the knife, back against the wall, trying to calm my breathing. Then I heard it, the creak of the front door opening. I was sure I had locked it. I remember locking it. I heard slow, deliberate footsteps on the wood floor, one after another. I held my breath. The sound stopped outside the bathroom. I clutched the knife, ready to stab at anything that moved. Then, a knock. From inside the house. On the bathroom door. Not loud, not urgent. Just that same soft, deliberate rhythm. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. I almost blacked out from fear. Then I remembered something. The bathroom had a small window above the sink, too small for most people to fit through, but I didn't have a choice. I climbed onto the counter, pushed the window open, and wriggled out. I scraped my back and nearly broke my wrist landing on the gravel, but I was out. I sprinted barefoot to the edge of the woods and crouched in the dark, staring at the cabin. The front door was wide open. The lights were on, and a figure stood in the doorway, looking around slowly, like it was trying to decide where I'd gone. I stayed hidden until the sun came up. Then I ran into town 5 miles barefoot, and called the police from a diner. When they got to the cabin, there was no one there. Nothing stolen, no signs of forced entry. All the windows were closed again, all the doors locked, except the bathroom door. That one was wide open. They never found the man. No footprints, no tire marks, nothing. But later that summer, I found something behind the cabin. Under the porch, tucked into a dry corner, was a pair of worn, dirty shoes, men's size 12. I never went back. My grandparents sold the cabin that fall, Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I'd opened that door, or waited just a few minutes longer. Sometimes I still hear that knock in my dreams. 3 soft taps. Pause. 3 more, and I always wake up at 3:07 a.m.